Gordon Tyerman is Managing Director of CCTV Training and a member of the newly formed CCTV National Standards Forum. Gordon, at the IFSEC International Conference next week, you'll be talking about standards in the surveillance arena, focusing in particular on systems, operators and management. Now, on the systems side of the equation, is there a level playing field you feel at the moment for the end user?
Well, I don't think there is. Over the last 10 to 12 years or so, developments in CCTV have been absolutely incredible. The technology's come a long way since our old videotapes. And I don't think the person that's buying, or the manager or the procurement officer, I don't think they really understand the ins and outs of the technology. I don't understand them in some ways, but you have to be a consultant and a specialist to really get the best from the system. And when I talk to managers and operators, they're quite clear that they don't fully understand how it works. And I think there can be some progress made for something simple for people to work through, and for equipment to have the same facilities. You can buy a computer, it'll run Microsoft and Windows, but it's not the same with digital CCTV equipment. You have to decide at an early stage just what the software and technology will do for you and understand it.
What are the anomalies still at play for operators in respect of regulation and training, Gordon?
Well, operators, as you know, of public space CCTV, if they're contracted, have to have an SIA licence, and they have to undergo a formal training course, which is what we do. It's a 4-day course. It ends up with a qualification. It's on the QCF, on the framework as a qualification, and it entitles them to have a licence. Their training involves a considerable amount of legislation, practical work, and an understanding of how systems should operate. If you're in-house, currently, there is no requirement to have such training. So in theory, you could have a person sitting alongside somebody. If you bring in a temporary member of staff, one could be licensed and one isn't. So of course there's a huge difference in the way that they understand how the system works, and potentially there's a risk there that it could be misused. So I don't see any reason at all why everybody shouldn't receive a license. It's common sense really, and many companies, many organisations do actually put their in-house staff through training because of the benefits.
And leading on from that, Gordon, why do you feel it's so important that a recognised career structure is put in place for CCTV operators?
Well, I've always thought that CCTV operators, the role of a CCTV operator, isn't really recognised for what it is. If you were to ask somebody in the street, what does a CCTV operator do? They'll just tell you they watch television all day. And that's not really true. There's a lot of very, very good proactive work being carried out by operators. And if you look at the reports and the statistics, there are many, many crimes that have been solved by the good work of operators. And I think to recognise what they do and the skill level that they develop is underplayed. And I think there should be a proper reward system. There's no career structure for them. You're an operator and that's it. There needs to be a formal supervisor, manager type role, if you like, team leader role for operators, so they've got something to achieve a bit further along the line.
And do you feel the role of the CCTV manager is perhaps underplayed at present?
Well, I do, in a similar sort of way to operators. Managers that I see often started life as the car parks manager for a local council, and they've been dumped with CCTV because nobody else is willing to take it on. And when you talk to these people, it's been a very, very steep learning curve for them to work out how a system runs. And given that some systems, they're multi-million-pound systems, to get the best from them, you really do have to have very good managerial skills. And although there are diplomas you can obtain, and there are degrees in security you can obtain, there isn't really anything, or there are very few places where you can go and have a specific manager's qualification. And I think we need to examine that and improve on that.
And there will be a new CCTV Code of Practice following Royal Assent for the Protection of Freedoms Bill. How do you feel this will impact the surveillance sector in particular?
Well, I read that it's being said that it won't, but I actually think there may be some implications that we haven't really understood. The Information Commissioner's Code has been in place since 1998 and has been reviewed, of course, 2008. But this one is now talking about the way in which people operate it and the equipment, the type of equipment, and it's talking about standards, whereas the Information Commissioner's one wasn't quite as direct. So I do think, although it's only aimed at public authority CCTV, which is a great shame, there's a lot of private systems out there that really need to come up to this level, it should give us a little bit more in the way of standards in terms of operating and management.
Thank you very much indeed, Gordon.